Hello, my name's Simon Crafar, and we're at LaSalle International Circuit in race control because this week's Tech Talk is about the technology coming in these days to help the men in race control. So, first thing we're going to notice as a rider, and come across what they police is the speed in pit lane. So you go out for your first practice down pit lane. They've got loops all the way down the pit lane, and the time is taken between each loop. And if your speed is higher than 60 kilometers an hour, the team gets sent. This is in practice and qualifying. The team gets sent a fine, and I guess the way that they would speed the riders in any case would be that they have forgotten to turn on the pit lane speed limiter, which goes and it limits the bike. It will not go faster. Or they do it, but the adjustment is wrong, So they get a chance at least to fix that. Then the second thing, I suppose, once you get out on track would be the track. This is what I actually wanted to explain. The new technology is track limit infringements, because up until this year, it's been a camera watching, or a couple of cameras, one up close and one further back, and it has to be a judgment call each time whether he's out, like tennis, whether you're touching the line or not. Where now, Pera and his Dorna team, I travel with them, so it's cool for me to know what they do. So Pera and his team have come up with a sensor, a sensor that's outside the curb, and if you touch that sensor, you're out. There's no black and white. Sorry, it's no grey. It's black and white. You're out or in. And what happens? There's still a camera there, but that sensor goes now. There's an infringement, so they can look at the video and see it's this number of rider, and it gets sent through. If there's a grey area one for any reason, they often wind it back and see if he's pushed, like somebody's bumped him out, and so they won't count one. But basically, in practice and qualifying, if you make that trigger that sensor, your lap is cancelled, So let's go on to yellow flags, would be the next one. In practice and qualifying again. I feel quite strong about this when it first came out, because I know as a rider, you work all of testing, all of practice for this moment in qualifying where you are trying to get your grid position, or into Q, now it's into Q2. And if a yellow flag is out, it has always been in my day that you make a judgment call, you go, right, there's no people on the track, no riders lying there, no marshals and no machinery. And if it's like that, they're off in the gravel, off the track, I keep that lap going. We always could until this year, or last year. And so, and as a rider, if you're taking a risk or not. You go through that corner and you go, right, instead of being on the limit, you do it normal, like fast but normal. And then the rest of the lap, you on the limit and try to keep your lap going. And also, I feel strong because you've spent all the practice and qualifying trying to get that moment, and somebody rides into the gravel, there's a yellow flag out, and you can imagine what the rider's thinking who's on his lap. He's going, monkey, like you're really frustrated. I'm sure that's still it now. The thing is that there has been riders in the gravel, marshals trying to help him, and another rider crashes. So there's a bike flying through, and imagine if it's your loved one being a marshal trying to help, or a doctor, or someone was going to get hurt if the rules stayed the same, So they've made it now, if there's a yellow flag up, you have to give up the lap, roll out, go slower through that section, and you cannot improve your lap time. So it's made it safer. What I want to explain is what the technology they use to police this, So if a rider has gone through a yellow flag section and improved his lap time in qualifying, Bill and Freddie will look at the video. The video, this is Freddie Spencer and Bill Cumbo. and hopefully we get to meet them in a moment. So they've got a camera that covers the corner, the marshal post, where the flag is, and, the circuit. And if a rider is fully committed to that corner and the flag, they see the flag just comes up, but he can't bail out of it, he's already committed, probably didn't see or couldn't change it, they're not going to worry about him, they'll leave him alone. But the next rider who has plenty of notice, they're going to cancel his lap, because he should have rolled out. The other thing is the marshal post where the crash is, the flag goes up. There's a marshal post earlier that follows his lead. If his flag goes up, his flag goes up. So you get an early warning, that there's a yellow flag coming. Actually, in a circuit or a section of a circuit where there's bad visibility, there'll even be a third one, so even earlier. Right, this is all in practice qualifying. Let's go to... I'd say let's go to the race. Sorry, I just should add that it's Bill and Freddie that make the call on, whether they get a lap cancelled on yellow flag. Let's go into the race. So line up on the grid, and just like in my day, the camera, this is a slow-mo camera on each line. And now they've got a camera also pointing at the light, and it comes onto the same screen. So they can review, Freddie and Bill can review each line to make sure that it's correct. There's no jumping. In my day, jumping was considered that the front axle, so you got half a wheel diameter, didn't pass the line, But now they're not worried so much about whether you moved a little and then stopped, because there's no advantage in that. Actually, probably a disadvantage, because if you stop and re-go, it mucks your whole startup. So what they're policing is when the light goes out, there is no movement. So that moment that light goes out, the bike, the wheel cannot be moving. If it's moving, and I agree with this, because if you time it right, and you're moving when the light goes out, you keep that momentum, that extra speed all the way to the first corner. You gain an advantage, which is why jump start, if you're moving. So you're out in the race, you're settled in, and for any reason you'll see it a lot in Moto3, that the track limit infringements, meaning you go outside and you hit those sensors, then comes through to PETA. The important thing I think to mention is there's 3 types, meaning you lost speed, meaning you triggered the sensor, but you lost time, meaning there's no advantage. You probably did it by mistake, it was like, so they don't worry about that. They don't count it, because the ones they're counting, and you get 5, the 5th one, you're a long lap penalty, so you've got 5. 4, then 5th is a penalty. So the ones they're counting is, they're not sure. They're not sure if you won or lost. It's more or less the same, but you keep going out once, twice. 3rd time, they're not sure, it's around the same time, but you're infringing. You get a warning on your dash. Be careful, you've only got, one more, and then it's penalty. And so there's 5. The 5th one, you get the long lap penalty. But if you, for example, the ones they're counting, you trigger the sensor and you get a really good run onto the straight and you win time, slipstream, overtake somebody, so you're making the circuit bigger, gaining advantage. In this case, you will get a long lap penalty, So unless you give that, and you give that up straight away. So next thing would be yellow flags in the race. It's much more like it was in my day. The main thing is, if you overtake for some reason on a yellow flag, meaning you didn't see it, or it's possible because you're following another guy focusing on other things, you didn't see it. Once you realize, give back that position. If you don't, you will get a message on your dash to say, from race control, to say, give up one position, go back one. So the guys do, they drop back, and all is good. That's the only thing about yellow flags in there. So the other thing is cutting the course, cutting the circuit. There's a couple of tracks we go to, big right, left sweeper. If you can't stop or you get bumped into and you cut through, Thing is, if you did it in my day, you lost, if not the race, you lost a lot of time because it was gravel. Now, being asphalt normally, the guys can gain time. So if you gain time, you're going to get penalized. You have to lose time. And everybody knows it. If you cut the track for some reason, you can't just cut it and go, oh, let's take a little rest. Or you have to lose time, and the riders know it. If you don't, you're going to get a long lap penalty. Oh, I knew there was something else to tell you in here. I might remember in a moment. Hopefully we get to meet Freddie and the guys. Are they coming in? Actually, here comes Bill Cumbo now. Hi, Bill. Hey, Bill Cumbo. This is Freddie Spencer. Freddie, and there's someone else to meet. Is Mike, obviously. Mike Webb, Loris Caparossi, Franco Incini, legend. I used to have him on my wall, world champion. So, the thing is, there is much more to this than I'm explaining today. I just want to touch on the technology. For example, it's the same team everywhere they go, so it's consistent. The same team of people, doing this. And then at the top of that, there's Mike Webb, race director, who oversees it. And guys, there is 300 marshals, and they're feeding back from 43 marshal posts here. So 43 radios coming back. And then there's info from Loris Caparossi, whether it's safe or whatever. Then there's feedback from Franco Incini about the circuit. It goes on, and Mike's job is to oversee and go, should it be red flagged? Should the race be delayed? Is it okay to start it now? And there's ambulances, safety cars, everything's got GPS, they know exactly where everything is. Basically, massive thing to coordinate. And we haven't got time to touch on all that today. I hope you've enjoyed it. The main message I wanted to get across is the technology that is coming in, it helps save time, so these guys don't have to look at Moto3 infringements till midnight, and they're focusing on something else. But the other big one I've got shown is it's fairer, because everybody gets caught. Some people aren't getting away with it. And guys, I hope you've enjoyed. Any of the other guys here, I hope you've enjoyed this week's Tech Talk. See you at the race, the next race for the next one.